My precious. Oh my god. My lip just popped. Never happened before. Anyways, hello. Oh shit, it's painful. Hello, my friends. Operator Starsky here. It was a bad start. Anyways, hello, my precious. What's wrong with my lips? Anyways, it's so cool to see you today. And first thing I would like to do is make a big shout out to Harley. Harley is the guy on the right, and he's a volunteer from the UK. He lived in Ukraine, I believe, sometime before the war, and he ships equipment for Brandon and our armed forces. He delivers all the equipment to Ukraine, and he just got back from driving from the UK all the way to Donbass to deliver radio and generators and other useful stuff. So big shout out to Harley. And by the way, you can find him on Instagram. There it is in the chat. Please make sure you subscribe to Harley. All right. I think we can start. Damn it, it's painful. No idea what happened. Never happened before. I mean, it popped for real. Anyways, I hope that our stream today will be a bit more reliable, because I'm not using Starlink at this point. I'm using mobile connection, and of course our stream is not supported by Dr. Pepper, one of the best beverage that I ever tried. And come on, I'm just kidding. For a second I thought you were a floating disembodied head. Sometimes I feel like that, buddy. Sometimes I do. What? My lip popped. Anyways, let's not concentrate on my lip. Let's concentrate on some more important things. And among those, China. Let's start with China, I think, because recently China made a bunch of very interesting statements, and specifically we're talking about Chinese representative in the European Union, Mr. Fu Song. He made a bunch of interesting statements regarding the Chinese-Russian relations, regarding the Chinese-Ukrainian relations, and it's interesting because first of all, according to the New York Times that interviewed Mr. Fu Song, he said that the statement about the borderless, limitless friendship between Russia and China was like a rhetorical trick. Oh, and I believe that we have Ukraine matters here. Let's put it on pause. Ukraine Matters, our buddy Georgie asks, have you heard anything from Vatra on our support stuff? So I have to make a very, very important announcement. I talked to Anastasia, and she said that actually she messaged me in the morning, and she was like, what did you do? And I was like, why? And she said, I received more than $1,000 in donations for Watra. So, guys, you are incredible. All those donations will be used to support my brigade, glorious 4th Operative Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine, called Rubizh, aka the Frontier. So, Georgie, we did a great job. Thank you so much. Basically, it's all due to Georgie, because if you want to do charities and fundraisers, you have to do just that, because it takes a lot of time. Also, I'm not risking to do any fundraisers, because people, not people, different scammers always try to impersonate my account and scam people for money. That's why I'm trying to stay away from that. But because of such people as Georgie, we keep our military forces supported, and due to you guys, of course. So thank you so much. And let's return to China. I believe that Georgie will laugh at this too, because it's our favorite topic. China being a peacekeeper of the modern world. So after all those meetings with Putin, between Putin and Xi and Putin and again Xi, Mr. Fusong said that there is no limitless and borderless friendship between Russia and China. All that was just like rhetorics, because I can understand him, because Xi Jinping was in Russia, and of course, when you're in Russia, you will not be openly saying shit like we have just limited friendship between our countries and we don't support your annexation of Ukraine and things like that, because right, we remember what happened to Polish President Kaczynski. Those who don't remember, he was basically killed in a air accident on the territory of Russia. That's why Xi Jinping was hugging and drinking together with Putin while being in Moscow, and then they became brave enough to make such statements when he left. But does it mean that China actually supports Ukraine? Because Mr. Fusong said that China doesn't support the Russian aggression against Ukraine. It doesn't support Russian attempts to annex Ukrainian territories, including Donbass and including Crimea. And by the way, please tell me if my video lags, because I really want to know if this connection is better than the previous one. Does it mean that China supports Ukraine? Lilith in the chat says China supports China 100%. But what about Ukraine? So, first of all, and again, China claims to be like the biggest peacekeeper, wisest, and yada yada. Guys, let's remind ourselves what kind of regime is ruling China. So China is ruled by a communist party. And it's a communist party, which is basically a totalitarian regime that despises democracy, that hates freedom of speech, and does all kinds of crazy shit, basically, that Russia does to its people on its territory, and not only on its territory, but it's just like a light version of Russia. However, basically the same. And another thing, what Mr. Fusong claimed is, also in the chat, CF says China is currently committing genocide of the Uyghurs, and that's why they had a lot of conflict with officials in the European Union. European Union sanctioned China. For that, China sanctioned those officials from European Union and things like that. Uyghurs, it's not the only issue there. There's also Tibet, there's also Taiwan and other things. Also, Mr. Fusong claimed that they didn't condemn Russian invasion in Ukraine because they understood fears of Putin regarding NATO, regarding this little peaceful democratic country of Russia being attacked by this huge NATO, right? If we're talking about trading and things like that, it's one thing. But if we're talking about NATO and democracy and freedoms, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and other things, China is not your best buddy if you support democracy and freedom. China and NATO are not best buds. China will always be geopolitically the enemy of democracy and NATO, of course. So we should consider that. And of course, we had a bunch of rumors. Again, we cannot really confirm or disconfirm those rumors about China helping Russia, providing them with artillery, shells, and things like that. However, almost all artillery that China has in its possession is copy-pasted from Soviet artillery. Basically, all their shells fit Russian artillery well. And we also have information that, for example, according to the BBC, China's weapons are getting more advanced. Its drones, for example, are on the area that Russia would be very interested in, and they're talking about those DJI drones, and we all know that as soon as this invasion started, operators of those drones, they noticed a lot of interesting things. So Ukrainian operators of those Chinese DJI drones noticed that some of the functions don't work properly. At the same time, they noticed that they are being discovered by Russian artillery recon very, very fast as soon as they launch those drones, and things like that. And from the commentaries in the chat, I can see that also the YouTube is blocked in China the same way as Facebook and Instagram is blocked in Russia for being extremist. Oh my God. So officially, Chinese Communist Party supports peace in Ukraine, and they sincerely wish our territories back, and they support our territorial integrity, and all this is sincere truth, especially when they lie, because what stops China from supplying Russian terrorists with ammo, with weapons, and at the same time say absolutely the same shit Iranian officials were saying? Iranian officials were swearing, they were swearing on the graves of their mothers that they don't supply Russians with kamikaze drones. And when those drones started striking Ukrainian cities, they suddenly remembered that, oh, actually, we did supply Russia with drones, but it was just a limited number of those drones, and those drones were delivered way before this invasion started, when nobody thought about it. And currently we know that probably a bit less than 1,000 of those drones were already destroyed over Ukraine. Some of them, unfortunately, brought a lot of suffering to our people. But it is the same. Of course, like, guys, we're talking about freaking terrorists and people who despise democracy. They don't speak truth. They lie. Lying for those people is like, it's a normal thing. When a murderer kills a person, he or she will never admit it. He will always be like, it wasn't me. I don't know who you are. What happens? Where am I? You know? He will always deny this. And of course, as well as Russians do, they will always deny their crimes. What kind of terrorist would admit his crimes? It's a bullshit. Again, like, their Chinese peace plan. Basically, all that plan that they produced, it can be squeezed to three main points: stop shooting, negotiate, celebrate. Basically, enjoy peace. It's so stupid. Chinese leader met Putin several times already since the beginning of this invasion. How many times did he meet Ukrainian President Zelensky if he wished to stop this war in Ukraine? Again, this Mr. Fu Song, he made up a lot of excuses on why Xi Jinping never called Zelensky. And actually, President Macron at this point is in China. He's visiting Xi Jinping, and he's trying to convince him to call President Zelensky and talk. And like, you have to convince somebody to talk with a person. It's freaking crazy, guys. Don't trust their statements. It's something that I'm trying to deliver to everybody. When you like, there's no point in, maybe there is point in talking to China, but there is very, very little sense in trusting them. That's why we don't trust Putin, because he never keeps his word, and we will talk about it a bit later. So one of the craziest things that I've heard recently from Russia was that we know that they're crazy about their orthodox church and their orthodox religion and things like that. So Orthodox Church in Russia is basically one of the foundations for the Russian world, this russki mir. And they pumped up this hysteria, this hype around this church so much. So when local officials decided to build a mosque in Moscow, and we're talking about a very big mosque, something that a building that is able to accommodate something around 60,000 people or something like that. So citizens of Moscow decided to protest that, because who needs a mosque in the Moscow downtown? We are a Russian Orthodox nation, right? That's why they had a big conflict with those guys, and those guys are Kadyrovites who said that they don't care whom to shoot, and they will fight against those who protest against mosques in Moscow. Russia is a multinational country. And of course, if your politics are designed to build this fascist society, you gotta understand that fascist society will never accept other religions, other nations, other people, and that's the result. That's basically the conflict that is starting very, very soon in Russia. Probably, of course, they will scare the heck out of those protesters somehow, because those Kadyrovites are very, very scary people. They're big, they look very, very sketchy, and they do some kick-ass TikToks. And CF makes a great point. Xi should visit Bucha. Absolutely. So I think that they will try to fix this conflict somehow. Again, we will see. And speaking of their church, so I gotta admit one thing, that it's very, very important, guys. So during my previous stream, I was showing this like leaflet from Bryansk Church calling to wipe Ukrainian nation from the face of the earth. And I said that I read it not really in a proper way. So it was said that your duty is to protect your motherland from Ukrainian nationalists. Again, because the text was really blurry, and because I didn't sleep, which is a bad excuse anyways, I read imperialists instead of nationalists, which is a bad mistake that resulted in a small conflict with one of our viewers, which I called Dovboyob. I'm very, very sorry. It was very unprofessional to do this. I do regret this. I shouldn't have done it. But talking about nationalists, we will talk about nationalists a bit later. Because next topic is the Russian church in Ukraine. And not very smart supporters of the Russian terrorism from the Western countries, they used to repeat this Russian narrative that Ukraine is canceling religion in Ukraine. Ukraine is canceling religion in Ukraine. Anyways. So what happens now? Currently, we saw a lot of number 3. We all make mistakes. It's a very, very bad mistake that I made, and later I will explain why. So currently in Ukrainian informational space, almost every day we can hear different news regarding this Moscow, this Russian church in Ukraine that went absolutely nuts. So this guy, for example, he is a former abbot of Ukraine, of one of the biggest Ukrainian monastery complexes in Kiev, one of the oldest ones, Pecherska Lavra. His name is Pavel, and his nickname is Pasha Mercedes, Pasha the Mercedes, because he likes Mercedes-Benz cars. And recently, our journalist, so this guy is already detained by the Ukrainian Security Service for spreading Russian propaganda and hate speech and supporting Russian invasion and justifying it and things like that. So Ukrainian investigators actually made a small research, and they found what kind of cars does this Pasha Mercedes, what kind of cars does he have? And they found that actually he has in his possession 3 elite premium class Mercedes cars, Mercedes-Benz GL350 CDI, this one. He had Mercedes-Benz V220 CDI, minivan, V-Class, produced by Mercedes-Benz since 2014. Like, I understand if he was like a CEO of an oil producing company or IT company, I don't care, but he's an abbot. Jesus was walking barefooted among people, and also he had this Mercedes-Benz S500. Not very bad, not very bad. Classy. It's absolutely classy. I think that I should change my job. It's crazy. Anyways, this man was arrested. He's been interrogated by Security Service of Ukraine, as well as this man. This is a picture from the official website of Security Service of Ukraine. This is a former priest of the Russian Church that was blessing Russian occupiers during their occupation of Kharkiv Oblast. He basically was coming to those soldiers and blessing them with holy water and blessing their genocide of Ukrainians. This man here, he is basically another Russian priest from Dnipro, and he was arrested for molesting his 2 daughters. Basically, the story is kind of ugly because his wife died, and then he started molesting them, and then their older brother found out about it and called police, and of course this idiot got arrested, this holy Russian man. And here, for example, another video that was published just a couple of days ago. The story behind this video is a Ukrainian soldier died, and when Ukrainian people die for some reason, like for any reason, because a lot of people in Ukraine are religious, including people in villages, they usually bring their bodies to the church where they have to make this ritual and mourn this person. I think you have same tradition in your country. Definitely, if there are religious people in your country, they have this religion anyways. And this soldier died, his mother brought his body to the church, which of course was Russian church that he used to go to when he was alive. But because he was a Ukrainian soldier, the priests of the Russian church denied mourning him in this church.
Пустіть до церкви, до церкви. Пустіть до церкви дитину, він здоров'я ходив, скільки років до церкви. Пустіть його до церкви.
Ви ж матері, мати плаче.
Пустіть до церкви дитину. Пустіть до церкви. Я піду сама зараз туди. Пустіть.
Those situations happen in Ukraine very often, actually. It's just the one that was recorded on a video. Actually, a lot of times this shit happens specifically in Russian churches where you cannot get married, or you cannot get your father or mother mourned in this church because they belonged to same Orthodox church where they had their masses in Ukrainian language. In Ukraine. That's why Russians hate it very much, and that's why Russian priests don't provide people with their services if those people attend Ukrainian church in Ukraine. So, to summarize this, I can say that Ukrainian state is not canceling religion. We don't cancel synagogues, we don't cancel mosques, we don't cancel Ukrainian Orthodox Church, we don't cancel Greek Catholic or Roman Catholic Church, we don't cancel any existing church in Ukraine. The only problem we have with is Russian church, because Russian church is canceling Ukraine. That's the problem. Same with pro-Russian parties that cancel Ukraine. Same with pro-Russian television that cancels Ukraine. You don't cancel Ukraine. It's a very bad thing to do. Trust me. Okay, and we have AK Crowd 74 here. And Sam Williams as well. And other people. My god, it hurts like hell. Anyways. For example, speaking, again, not very smart supporters of the Russian terrorism on the West, they used to say that Ukraine is like fascist country because they do crazy things which go against all the canons of democracy and freedom of speech by banning pro-Russian parties in a country that is defending against Russia. But I have a great example on why, in most cases, the representatives of Russian parties are getting cancelled in Ukraine. And this is one of the examples. So this phone was taken from a Russian officer of the military intelligence called ГРУ, Главное разведывательное управление. And of course he had he doesn't need this phone anymore anyways, but on his phone he had a Telegram chat, and in his Telegram chat he was talking with a guy from Bakhmut, and this guy was providing him with all kinds of information on the Ukrainian armed forces and basically our troops stationed in Bakhmut. And here, for example, he says, is Kurakhov power station still works? Yes, I will find out for you, and yada yada. And here he said, because again, why he's interested in power station is because they were planning to destroy it, obviously. And here he says, again, those messages are very interesting. Here he says that Artyomovsk is Russian name for Bakhmut. He says Artyomovsk is target number 1. That's why it will be razed to the ground like Mariupol. Is this true? This local man asks this officer, and this officer answers, probably, but as soon as we raise it to the ground, we will build it back, because you can see how much money they put into rebuilding Mariupol right now. And this one is, this local man says, those are the coordinates. Around 11 p.m. yesterday, 2 BMP with infantry arrived there. And the officer asks about the picture and things like that, and this local man provides him with the picture. Do you want to know who was this local man? So, this local man, his nickname is Ushasty, and Ushasty is his gangster nickname. His real name is Ivankov Vladimir Vladimirovich. Born in 1978, he's Vova the helicopter, he's Vovan, and he's Ushasty. He's a gangster from Bakhmut, and of course, because he was a gangster in Bakhmut, in Donbass, he was a member of the Party of Regions, so-called Party of Regions, the pro-Russian party, basically. The pro-Russian party that was banned in Ukraine. And he was a representative of this party in the city hall of Bakhmut. And there are numerous cases when those, like members of parliament who represent pro-Russian parties, and their representatives in city halls and town halls and yada yada, they either collaborated with Russian occupiers, or they were providing them with sensitive information on the dislocation of Ukrainian troops and things like that. So, is it justified to cancel pro-Russian party like this one? Specifically, if we consider the fact that 100% of all the collaborationists working at the occupied territories, like Donbass, Crimea, etc., they all belonged to pro-Russian parties. You will not find any representative of like European solidarity, or I don't know, the servant of the people of our current ruling president. They all represent pro-Russian movements. And again, it's very interesting, like, people on the West are so, like, they're so mad. I think that probably we should give them, I don't know, an opportunity to speak up, to share their deep thoughts on biolabs, on those genetically modified mosquitoes, dirty bombs, And of course, they must say that Ukraine is the same nation as Russia, and Ukraine belongs to Russia. And so, returning to this funny leaflet that I was reading to you, and regarding those Ukrainian nationalists, what's wrong with, like, let's discuss this, because it's very, very interesting. So, Putin is claiming that one of the reasons Putin, like, I wanted to say that Putin attacked Ukraine, but Putin never claimed that he attacked Ukraine. Basically, what he says was that they never invaded, and they were protecting themselves from this big evil Ukraine that wanted to attack this small peaceful Russian country, protected with some nuclear weapons, and and he said that Ukrainian nationalists were among the biggest reasons for that. And again, I checked the ruling parties of Ukraine. European solidarity doesn't really sound like being nationalist. People's servants of people, the president's party, they state openly that they are libertarian. They are not nationalist. There are no nationalist parties in Ukrainian parliament whatsoever. And if Ukraine was populated by big number of nationalists, they would elect some nationalist party, which never happened. But let's check what Putin says about this, because it's very, very cool. So,
что бы ни происходило и куда бы Украина ни шла, мы все равно когда-то и где-то встретимся. Почему? Потому что мы один народ. И как бы на то, что я сейчас сказал, не сердились националисты с обеих сторон, а националисты есть и у нас, и на Украине. На самом деле оно так и есть.
So he says that Ukrainian people are the same nation as Russian people. And judging from the fact that he literally kills his people who speak truth and don't afraid to speak up and fight for democracy, like, I realize now why he attacks Ukraine, which are the same nation as Russians. But yeah, those evil nationalists on both sides, they do everything to destroy this beautiful friendship between the Ukrainian and Russian people, right? Okay, let's check out this one.
Но хочу вам сказать следующее. Дмитрий Анатольевич Медведев не меньший, в хорошем смысле слова, русский националист, чем я.
What? I mean, did I get it wrong? Let's check out again. Something is not right here.
Но хочу вам сказать следующее. Дмитрий Анатольевич Медведев не меньший, в хорошем смысле слова, русский националист, чем я.
What the fuck? I mean, but like, he says he's nationalist? Are you serious? Like, I don't get it. Let's check out what this bloody bastard Medvedev says regarding this. Because, like, I'm a bit confused because he literally said that nationalists were bad.
На патриотических струнах, а вернее говоря, на псевдопатриотических струнах пытаются играть как раз националисты и радикалы. Вот им нельзя давать возможности это делать. На патриотических струнах, а вернее говоря, на псевдопатриотических струнах пытаются играть как раз националисты и радикалы. Вот им нельзя давать возможности это делать. На
Something is very wrong. First of all, dude, your boss says that you're supposed to be nationalist. Or, like, okay, my English is not perfect, but I perfectly understand Russian language. Putin said that you're the same kind of nationalist as he is, which is supposed to be good. But at the same time, he said that nationalists suck. Anyways, something is very, very wrong here because yeah.
Национализм, патриотизм может перевести в национализм. Это опасная тенденция. Здесь я не могу с вами не согласиться. И в принципе мы должны, конечно, это иметь в виду и сделать все, чтобы этого не случилось. Это опасно для страны. Самый большой националист в России – это я. Но самый большой, самый правильный национализм – это выстраивание действий и политики таким образом, чтобы это пошло на благо народу. Национализм.
What? I don't think okay. Nationalists are good. Okay, let's disregard what he said just like a couple years ago. Okay, that doesn't matter. People change their opinion and every time. I have a lot of those records actually.
Украину начали превращать в плацдарм, к сожалению для нас, в плацдарм антироссийский. Начали выращивать там имевшиеся уже давно ростки национализма и неонацизма. Украину начали превращать в плацдарм, к сожалению для нас, в плацдарм антироссийский. Начали выращивать там имевшиеся уже давно.
Dude, what the dude, stop this. Like, can you have like one opinion, okay? Like, nationalists are good or bad? Because I'm lost here. I don't know what to think. Because like you're saying that nationalists are bad, and that's why you attack us. At the same time, you say that they're good, and now you say they're bad again. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I don't know what's going on here. I have another one.
Самым правильным, самым настоящим националистом и самым эффективным являюсь я. Но это не пещерный национализм, дурацкий и придурочный, который ведет к развалу нашего государства. Вот в чем разница.
Если вы один, то это мало. У вас есть единомышленники, такие же националисты?
Есть. Почти 146 миллионов человек. Самым...
Do you understand what happens? I mean... I have no freaking I don't know what to think. Like, I'm confused. Guys, the reason why Putin is internationally recognized nobody, okay, is because he says bullshit. Like, what he says doesn't matter at all. What he says makes absolutely no point. Because he says that nationalists that are there in Russia and in Ukraine, they're bad people with horrible intentions. At the same time, he says that there's 146 million nationalists in Russia. His good allies. Like what the hell? I'm missing something here. So basically, that's just one example of Putin's rhetorics. He will tell you all kinds of crazy shit. He will say that Russia is the most peaceful country in the world, that everybody wants to kill them. At the same time, to his audience, he will be saying that he's a nationalist, and the reason why he says that is because his people support it. His society supports that shit. Same stuff like what Hitler did. Of course, if he was saying to his audience that he was like a Democrat and yada yada, he would not be so popular. That's why when our president Zelensky said that Putin is nobody because he doesn't keep his word, why should I talk to him? That's exactly the reason why what Putin says doesn't make absolutely no sense to anybody. Same thing, by the way, same thing with all of their reasons and justifications of this invasion to Ukraine, because they don't make they don't speak about their goals clearly. So when they say about like denazification, demilitarization, and things like that, they don't speak about like some real goals, some specific goals, and specific goals are like annexation of Zaporizhian Oblast. Why they do this? Why they have such blurry goals and reasons for their invasion? Is because it's easier to make it like when they lose the war, it's easier to make it look like as if they were winning. For example, in Kiev, of course, we're not mentioning that they were talking about taking Kiev in 3 days. Simonyan was convinced that they were gonna take Kiev in 2 days. But at the same time, when they lost between 5 and 30,000 men around Kiev and had to retreat to avoid being surrounded, basically what they said was that they did not retreat. They literally made this gesture of goodwill and made tactical maneuver. That's all. Guys, in the chat, those who speak about nationalists, don't try to analyze them. Don't try to understand them. It makes no sense. They will speak about nationalists to the broad society, to people like you, and they will say that Nazi bad, that Ukrainian people support racism and fascism. At the same time, they will be speaking to their internal audience, to Russians, that we are Russian nationalists. We do what we have to save our country. And all those Russian nationalists will be throwing those zigas because it's normal to them. Being Russian nationalist is actually like, okay. But at the same time, when the time is proper, they will be saying that they're fighting nationalism, because this is the way their mentality is built. Because, like, everything is possible when you lie. Okay. So that's the thing. And hopefully we covered everything that happened this week. Oh, another important information is that according to our general staff, during March that only ended last week, during March, Russians lost almost 24,000 men in Ukraine dead, which I think is another good reason to celebrate, because, like, because it's a proper thing to do. I will probably have another ice cream in Bucha when the number of eliminated terrorists will grow up to 180,000 orcs. And I hope that you will too. And Loring says, I see the problem. We are normal, rational, free-thinking humans. We don't understand because we are not in the target demographic, basically target audience. Yeah, absolutely. Because there are two kinds of people, okay? People who try to obey law because, like, it's a law. Without rules, we would just drown in chaos and start doing ugly things to each other and stuff. People who are educated, people who are open-minded and things like that, people who can sympathize and empathize other people. Then there are people who say, atrocities, like, everybody does that, okay? Shooting civilians and eliminating POWs and bombing cities, it's a normal thing, everybody does that. And those are actually dangerous. I believe that they should be, like, separated from society, because people who justify that crazy shit, they have problems. They need assistance. Pope Francis, what is Trump shampoo brand? Whoa, I don't use much shampoo. That's why I don't really know what's the brand. No lag at all. Thank you so much. I checked the upload speed of my mobile connection, and it's almost 4 times faster than the upload speed of Starlink. Miraculously. I don't know why it works like this, but it's a fact. Maybe in the future, when we have Starlink base built in Ukraine, maybe it will become faster, because currently Ukrainians using Starlink were using Polish satellites. That's why every time I open my Google says that I'm in Warsaw, Poland. So that's the reason why we have no lags today. But again, if our communication towers are bombed and shelled, and if we have no communication, I will be forced to use this laggy Starlink again. Okay, we had some... do you know how many Ukrainians are lost? I believe killed. So currently the number of casualties of Ukrainian armed forces comparing to Russian troops is approximately 1 versus 7-8. So I think you can count yourself. Mercado here. Or no? Buddy, if you're here, I can't see you. But hello anyways. Magyar has a new video today. Russians were saying he was dead yesterday. Killer rabbit. Yeah, it's true. So it was really funny because I think they already killed him like 3 times. And every time they were showing this like either his body or something like that. And yeah, it was hilarious. The most recent video is absolutely amazing. Martin, Warsaw seems nice. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I was watching that meeting of our president and Polish president in Poland, in Warsaw, and I remember this place, by the way, because in 2014 I spent some time living in Warsaw, and it's literally in the downtown. They have some really nice places there. One of the countries that I will definitely visit as soon as this war is finished. Єлена Пшихальська. Польща завжди буде з вами, ви наші брати і сестри. Thank you so much. You are our brothers and sisters as well. Benjamin says 1 to 8 works, but not sure to trust it. I think you can more or less trust it. 1 to 7, 1 to 8, I would say approximately this number. Lisa says Magyar is killed every week. I saw one crazy things that I would like to show you. It was in my Twitter. Let me see if I can find it, because it was hilarious, guys. I swear. Again, in Twitter I have quite a few followers, to my surprise, and oh my god, where it is. I think it was dedicated to Bucha, probably. Yeah. So one of the trolls made this picture that made me laugh like crazy, and I want to show it to you guys. It's fantastic. Like, I've never seen anything funnier than this. So I've been exposed. I've been literally exposed. So here you can see this old Photoshop of Azov, and the reason, like, don't ask me why it's Photoshop, and I will not ask you why at least half of those people are wearing Russian camo, Russian pixel camo. So they exposed me, because, and this was posted in my commentaries in my Twitter. So they exposed me because apparently that's me. Wearing Russian camo, by the way. No idea why. I don't remember, because obviously I was very, very drunk. Yeah, so it was like I was exposed completely. Apparently I served in, not in Azov, in some pro-Russian terrorist group, but it, like, let me see it once again. Actually, Actually, this dude has RPK, light machine gun, and when I served in my infantry company, I also had RPK. Not for long though. But I never made pictures with Russian terrorists. Commander 401. And obviously every week Operator Starsky comes to the shields and talks with the Jew. There were times when I was even drinking with the Jew before the war started. So, evil twin. I don't know. I would be ashamed knowing that my twin is an orc, I think. Guys, I don't understand one. Okay, I expected things like that. I expected some, I don't know, AI-generated porn. Maybe even, like, obviously, even including, like, gays and maybe animals. Anyways, but, like, it was something so cringy and amateur-ish. They could do better. Much better. Stefan says, Dr. Pepper turns people into Nazis. Absolutely. Dr. Pepper not sponsoring my channel yet. Actually, Dr. Pepper was among the first beverages that were popular on the West, and they appeared in Ukrainian market around 2010, I think. I worked on a television and my friend said, look, that's Dr. Pepper, and I was like, so? And then I tried it and he said, like, you don't understand, it's the Dr. Pepper. And then I bought it and understood it. Rabbi USA porn, Starsky is dreaming. LOL. Starsky not only dreaming, Starsky crying. Because it's sad. Starsky deep fake. Can you tell where the picture was taken or when? So, I think it was taken around 2015, maybe. From what I know, this picture was, again, I wasn't there, okay, but from what I read at stopfake.org, actually it was photoshopped. There was a different picture with pro-Russian flags. Again, NATO, like NATO flag. Okay, that Starsky's evil twin. NATO flag, guys. What you should know about Azov. Azov movement, which by the way was in opposition to our currently ruling president, Azov didn't support the idea of joining NATO. Azov didn't support the idea of joining the European Union. They supported so-called intermarium, which is unity of Baltic states, basically like alternative to the European Union. Unity of Baltic states, Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, and further to, I think, Bulgaria. I might be wrong. I'm not an expert in Azov. But anyways, they were opposing the idea of joining NATO, and I have no idea why would they make a picture with the NATO flag. It's ridiculous. However, maybe their views changed big time. Mark Snyder, Azovs were soccer hooligans from Kharkiv. Yeah, there's a lot of soccer hooligans among them. That's why a lot of those guys have like plenty of tattoos and stuff like that. Absolutely. Who killed the statue, guys? First of all, statue guy, I think that his party was a blast. Like literally. I think that it was some kind of internal like gang war, or maybe those Russian partisans, they took responsibility for eliminating him. Maybe they were the reason. I don't know. I don't care. He ceased to be. He met Kobzon, and I think it's beautiful. One thing you should know about Ukrainian wartime slang, okay? Like cotton and things like that. You may have heard this phrase, like some Russian terrorist or like some Russian general met Kobzon or went to the Kobzon's concert. I think I have to explain you the origin of this slang because it's hilarious. So there was Kobzon. He was a Russian singer. So this man my god, I'm lost. Yeah, so this gentleman, this person, he was a Russian singer. Actually, he was born in Ukraine. Nobody cares. And again, don't be surprised if you see Russian artists looking like that, because Kobzon is not the only one. There's Gazmanov. There's, oh my god, this macho man. Actually, this is how he looks like today. Then there is Valeria. That's photoshopped. I'm not body shaming. I'm not trying to be that kind of person, but I think that she represents the peaceful and democratic Russian people very much. Anyways, so this is Kobzon, and he was a Russian singer, and pedophile. I don't know if he was, but he was a Russian singer, and he supported all kinds of crazy shit performed by Russians when they annexed Crimea. He did a lot of his concert there in Crimea, and then he died as my favorite British actor once said, he ceased to be. So he died, and now, like everybody loved Kobzon in Russia. All the Russian terrorists, for example, that Alexander Zakharchenko, former chief terrorist of the so-called DPR in Donbass, he was even like singing with him at the concert and things like that. So he died. Zakharchenko also died. A lot of Russian terrorist died by today. He didn't fall out a window. I think like something else happened. Anyways, the result is known. He's not with us anymore. So now, whenever some of Russian terrorists or generals or Russian supporters ceases to be, ends his existence on Earth, we used to say that he's now with the Cubs on. He received a ticket to the Cubs on's concert because it's kind of funny. We love dark humor here. The wig, yeah, the wig is hilarious. It's the most famous thing about Kobzon is his wig. Another energy executive died recently. Yes, it's true. And not only these men. So I have a small compilation. Oh my god, I closed my messenger. I had it right here. I have a small compilation of all of those influential people who fell out of window in Russia. And here they are. Actually, the list is kind of huge. So, more than 30 high-profile Russians have died since Putin invaded Ukraine, and there in the top right corner of this picture you can see this huge evil Ukraine trying to invade this tiny little peaceful Russia. And here we have a list of all those influential Russians who fell out a window, including their generals, including their colonels, including there is this woman, that Maria Yankina, I was talking about her, I think last month. Marina Yankina managed all the money that were going from the Russian budget to the I think it was southern or western Russian military district, so to say. And yeah, there were a lot of those. But I have a great news for them. Because if Russians behaved bad during their lifetime, after death, they go to Russia. So nothing changed to them, pretty much. Taylor Ongara wants me to tell you the story of Russian paratroopers that were eliminated prior to landing in Hostomel. But actually, I was talking about it in one of my videos. I think basically it was one of my previous live streams. One thing that I can say is that, again, I have updated information because I was saying that we destroyed 6 helicopters because we found 6 helicopters, like wrecks of 6 helicopters in the area. But actually, one of them was destroyed by Russians themselves, so they destroyed their own helicopter because they couldn't take it back to Russia. That's why they destroyed it. They have a lot of helicopters. Who cares? Those paratroopers still haven't landed. Yelena, yeah, I can agree on that. I realized why they forced our POWs, Ukrainian soldiers, to collect the bodies of the Russian paratroopers, because we took no losses there. 0 man were killed during that attack on our side. And some of them, unfortunately, heroically died during the battles of Moshchun and Huta-Mazahirska, but we're talking about officers of the headquarters. All of those conscripts that were fighting there in Hostomel, they are alive and well. And the reason why Russians made our POWs collect those bodies was because you can imagine the feelings of Russian paratroopers collecting remains of their bodies, and the only bodies they can see are Russian bodies. 0 Ukrainian guardsmen that were killed in action, 0 Ukrainian soldiers, just Russians. I think that would be too demoralizing to Russian soldiers. That's why their officers forced our POWs collect those bodies, and several Ukrainian conscripts and several border guards that were captured as prisoners and later exchanged. They collected 80 Russian bodies in a single day. Dr. Pepper is a sugar bomb. Mr. X, I think Coca-Cola is a sugar bomb because it tastes more sweet than Dr. Pepper. Actually, I have a full fridge of this stuff. Oh, shit. So, let's talk about food. Because food is always a nice topic to discuss. How many Russians are dead now? So, according to the statistics provided by our general staff, more than 176,000 orcs. Pope Francis, Mountain Dew. I expect Mountain Dew to be sold in Ukraine, actually. One thing I noticed in the stores, in the grocery stores here in Ukraine after this invasion started, is that we have a lot of import, and I'm talking like milk, yogurts, different beverage from Europe. There's a lot of milk brands from Poland, by the way. We have a lot of Polish stuff that is sold in our grocery stores, which I think is great. And smell my fingers. No, I'm already starving. Me too, bro. Me too. Ukraine matters. I like food, bro. Everybody likes food. I mean, it's something that makes us feel each other, feel for each other, and something that makes us closer. So yeah, so as for Mountain Dew, I expect it to finally arrive to Ukraine because I want to try it. I want to understand what's the legend behind Mountain Dew. I just made homemade ravioli. Cape Breton Barbarian. Cape Breton Barbarian. Homemade ravioli. Recently, I tried ravioli. Here we call them pelmeni. They're bigger. They're bigger than ravioli. And I tried them for the first time in more than a year. For the first time since probably 2020. Because of COVID, I had my sense of smell distorted, and I still have it. That's why it's crazy. I still cannot eat majority of milk chocolate that is sold out there. My favorite brand, Milka, smells like soap to me. Milk chocolate, it's crazy. Yeah. But I bought some other brand with like huge nuts, and it was great. Okay, Mercado Media here. Hello, buddy. Hello. Daughter of Texas, Operator Starsky, you need to try biscuits and gravy. Texas traditional breakfast. biscuits and gravy. Is it a brand or can I cook it myself? Because if I can cook it, then I can try it. Raven, do you think that raccoon and the llama that were stolen from the zoo by the Russians were turned into food, crying uncontrollably? There is a high chance of that. Because they were stolen by, I believe, Kadyrovites, there is a high chance that they unfortunately were molested and probably even dead and molested, but I still hope that they're alive. Sheriff Van Amersfoort, what is your favorite dish? And Mercado Media asks, what is your favorite candy? Candy. So, my favorite dish is, I think spaghetti, maybe. Fried potato. Basically something like French fries, but not really. Or spaghetti. So, one time, when I was younger, and I was married for the first time, we were in Turkey. We had a rest in Turkey with my ex, and I made a bet because we had like this Swedish table, and you could take anything you wanted from Swedish table, and like for breakfast or dinner or whatever. So we made a bet that I would eat just spaghetti for a whole month, and I mean like spaghetti with like meat and fish, and that's exactly what I did. For breakfast and lunch and dinner, I only had spaghetti with like sausages, meat, fish, like fried fish or steam cooked fish, just spaghetti with tomato sauce, spaghetti with cheese sauce, and it was the best period of my life that lasted for a month, and I won, of course. I have a bunch of different pastas here. When I make spaghetti sauce, I just tell someone else to pick the pasta they want. I love spaghetti with and basically other kinds of pasta with tomato sauce. It tastes great. When I was in Italy, I was like 11 years old, and they cooked some very, very special spaghetti, and I tried to find, like later, years after that, when I grew up, I tried to find that very sauce, and I failed. And later I realized that it was just like a common tomato sauce, but my tastes kind of changed since then. And it's a funny thing, because I talked to my father just a couple of days ago, and I was saying to him, because I still remember that horrible period of my life spent in a freaking Soviet Union when I was 5-6 years old. So I asked him, like, those sausages that were sold, I still remember their taste, and they tasted fantastic. And I tried to buy same kind of sausages like nowadays, and they sucked so much. Like, what happened? Were there like different sausages or something? And my dad said, like, literally because we had no good food in grocery stores. Worst sausages that we could buy, and we couldn't buy them often because usually there were absolutely no sausages in our grocery stores. They were empty most of the time. But whenever we could buy them, worst sausages would taste great to you, literally, because we couldn't afford them often, just like the rest of the population of the Soviet Union. Vitaly, hey, nice to see you here in the chat. We're talking about food. Oh, Maria Livia, I cannot imagine a world without spaghetti. Okay, true, I'm Italian. Yeah. Did you live in Italy? For a while. I lived in Italy for like a month or something like that. I was 10, 11 years old. We celebrated New Year there. And recently I found a bunch of pictures. They're not digital pictures, they're analog pictures from those times. And in my upcoming stream, we will have this, this family stream, and I will show those pictures, including pics from Italy. There was this girl in the family where I lived. There was this girl, Federica. And I was crazy about her. I was so in love. And then I had to go back to Ukraine. Ukraine Matters asked Mercado Media, would you consider a stream together? Mercado Media, you have to do it. It's a must. Trust me. Definitely garlic bread. Garlic bread is something so cool. So, in 2015, and let me see if I have pictures from 2015. I will show them to you next time, okay? Because I'm gonna spend like half an hour searching for them. So in 2015, we were deployed in Krasnohorivka, which is next to Staromykhailivka. Staromykhailivka is controlled by Russians. Not sure about today. But we had nothing to eat at all. And I remember it was November. It was cold like hell. And I got sick. I was sneezing, I had a high temperature, I was basically dying, like every time I'm getting sick. So we had absolutely nothing to eat. There were cans with meat, cans without meat, because what you could find inside it, you couldn't call it a meat, like pork nipples and things like that. There was some buckwheat, and we had buckwheat like for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's why nobody ate buckwheat. We had a big bag of sugar, and I was chewing on sugar constantly. And we had a lot of bread because the local bakery was providing us with bread. But other than that, like, you cannot eat bread every day, okay? And the way I saved myself from dying, pork nipples, super bunker, pork nipples. The way I saved myself was I cooked toasts, and I rubbed those toasts with salt and garlic, and I still love this shit. Like, you gotta try it. I could eat those toasts for like breakfast and dinner, and basically because it contained a lot of salt and garlic, I kind of felt better eventually. Andrew Petrie, who said pork... Like, literally, you open this can and you look inside. Sometimes the zombie that sat inside would peek back at you. Okay, sometimes it was nipple. Sometimes it was like some other body part that I don't want even to pronounce here. But I'm glad that those cans improved a bit. And by the way, it was a funny story because when I served back in my infantry unit, in my infantry company, I made a very funny publication in Ukrainian Facebook regarding those zombies in the meat cans, and I got called by some representatives of the HQ of the National Guard of Ukraine. They politely asked me whether the meat was so bad. I sent them some pictures, and they liked my publication so much, so they offered me to become a press officer, basically, eventually. I refused. But eventually they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. Oh my god, those commentaries are jumping like crazy. I'm trying to... I'll try it. If Andrew says it's good, I'm eating it. It's absolutely a breast officer, a press officer. I said breast officer. I only said it because I cracked my lip in the beginning of the stream. Okay, so here we have a historical event. Mercado Media and Ukraine Matters will unite for a new mutual stream, and I think it's fantastic. I gotta see it. Vienna sausages. I have Vienna sausages sold here in my local grocery store. I'm not a big... I was a fan of this, but I'm not a big fan of them now because they smell bad to me. I don't know how to fix my sense of smell. I heard different versions, and basically I cope with the fact that probably I'm doomed. Do you have a good recipe of Ukrainian borscht? Question from LS. My dad does. I don't really know how to cook borscht because it's kind of complicated. It's more complicated than preparing, say, Thai rice or rice noodles or things like that, or sushi. Polish sausage. Yeah. Polish sausages rule. Ukraine Matters says, we just recently did a stream together with Andrew. You can check it out now. Yeah, it's true. You can find our stream at Ukraine Matters. And if you haven't seen it, please do. Leslie says, your sense of smell could take a year, but it will come back. I lost it like 3 years ago. Not like lost it, but it got deformed, devastated. For a while, everything around me smelled like corpses, literally, like including myself. It was like walking around with a dead cat in your pocket, you know, that smell would follow you everywhere. I never tried, but I think that's something that I would experience in this case. And eventually it changed. So I couldn't eat onions at all. I still cannot eat like boiled eggs and a lot of other things. but onion was a death wish. It was like the mere smell of onion could kill me instantly, let alone eating onions. So after the air raid on Hostomel, we united with another brigade of the National Guard, and we were accommodating at their base here in Kiev. And early in the morning, I went to the canteen. I had a breakfast together with Stas, my good buddy, our sergeant major. And I found myself eating a salad with huge amount of onions inside of this salad. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I had some chicken. I couldn't eat chicken as well because it stank to me. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, this shit's back. I can eat everything. And for a while I could eat my usual food. No idea why, like no idea what happened. Maybe because of stress. It was literally 2 days after the battle for Hostomel. Maybe because of stress, maybe for other reasons, but then it faded away again. Rhonda asked, have you heard of the berry that makes everything taste good? Is there even such a berry? I don't know. Onions equals corpses makes sense. They both coat the inside of the nose and stay with you. I don't know. I loved onions, especially with shashlik, and shashlik is something very, very special. Usually it's like pork meat, grilled pork meat prepared on not always pork, could be like cow or whatever, grilled on sticks. And I don't have picture here. And you gotta cover all this with huge amount of onions because they taste fantastic together. Martin, chicken anything now smells and tastes horrific to me. Same here. The only chicken I can eat is like KFC, and it should be hot. Otherwise, it smells weird, smells different. Vegetarian Ukrainian food? Question from Tass. We definitely have it. And traditionally, like, our cuisine wasn't very much vegetarian, but in most cases, Ukrainians, and I'm talking like centuries ago, 1-2 centuries ago, in villages, we would mostly eat like vegetables and porridge and things like that. Bread, of course. On some specific occasions, we would have meat, and in most cases, that would be pork. Why pork? It's a long story that I will tell you sometime. But Ukrainians are mostly big fans of pork. Dump Trump. Yo, Federica from Italy. Starsky loves and adores you. Actually, I talked to those people from that family probably last year, and they all are doing great. And Federica, by the way, she has a daughter, I think. I'm very happy for her. Guys, like, I was in love many times. Who wasn't, right? Okay, David says, I live in the northeast. My favorite foods are fresh seafood, main lobsters, scallops, clams, mussels, shrimp, and cod, and other fish. I love fish, totally. Like salmon and shrimps, of course. Yeah, it's awesome. Lastly asks, Starsky, do you have more work now? You are a captain. Mercado asks, not really same amount. Nothing really changed in my case. Fuyuma says, I think it's called Miracle Berry / fruit. I gotta check it out. Yeah, Commander says it's called the Miracle Berry. I gotta Google it. There's so many things I learned from you guys, literally. Do you know the guys of the channel Terra Ops? A question from the Call of Duty. I don't know them personally, but I know them through third people, and those guys are legit. They're awesome. Oh, Lisa says young love is the best. I won't argue, but on the other hand, love is the great feeling. Anyways, regardless of the age. We're talking of the legal age, of course. Dan, please don't tell me you're straight. I am, bro. Cheryl says, Brandon wants to make you gigolo for old cougars. You know, I think that maybe one day I will meet my demise this way. Richard Stevens, Ukraine Matters, really enjoyed your getting together on YouTube. I agree on that. Actually, why I like Georgie so much? Because he reminds me big time of my good buddy who also worked in the IT, and they even look similar, and they have like similar jokes. That's why when I talk to Georgie, I have like a deja vu of some kind. The only thing we didn't do together yet is like drinking huge amount of beer and going to concerts and moshing in the mosh pit. Anyways, Pamela, are you married? Thank God, not anymore. It was a horrible period of my life. Seriously, even despite the fact that war is the most horrific shit that I ever experienced in my life, but because this year I met as a single, it was the calmest year of my life. You're all so mean to Brandon. I mean, he deserves it, but give him a break. He totally deserves it. 100%. April. Demise by Cougar Babushka. It's Babusia. In Ukrainian language is Babusia. Babushka is in Russian. So, how's Bogdan? Our mutual friend, not sure if I can tell you his name. He's like a recon. But our mutual friend unfortunately got wounded big time in Donbass. And I asked whether I could visit him, but he's in a different city. I'm currently attached to Kiev and Hostomel. But Bogdan visited him, and he seems to be just fine. He lost some fingers, some toes, but mostly he's fine. Raven Starsky's X, you are almost worse than war. Almost is an unnecessary word in this statement, my friend. You could always rent love, Kilo 19. It always reminds me of like this Benny Hill show where he's singing "Love for Sale." It's hilarious. I gotta watch it sometime. Richard Stevens, sorry to hear about his wounds. Prayer for his recovery. I think he will be fine because this dude is like a living energizer. He, like when we were together, by the way, in Krasnohorivka in 2015. Like he was running around like crazy, doing push-ups, pull-ups, dragging heavy stuff from place to place, and he would like there was a big bag of sugar. And because sugar was a good source of energy, he would just grab a handful of sugar, chew it, and run away. And he is a great friend, and he's always positive. So I think that he will be fine. Love for sale, lust for rent. Guys, we started with food. We started discussing food. I don't know how we reached this point in our conversation. LSA in the room. Richard, welcome to the chat. Are you still on duty? Well, actually, I'm supposed to sleep right now because it's almost 2 a.m. in Ukraine, but I realized that I had no stream for quite a while because I was unable to talk much. What do Ukrainians think of Navalny? Question from Tess. Is controversial because Navalny, well, there are things that he said in support of Ukraine, but mostly there are things that he said in like against Putin. Russian politicians, majority of them, Russian politicians, and I'm talking about their opposition, they don't protest against Putin because they like Ukraine. They protest against Putin because they don't like Putin and they want to take his place. You gotta always consider this when we talk about people like Maxim Katz, I think, and people like him. Navalny, he is better than Putin 100%, but is he a good potential ally of Ukraine? Not really sure, because I read his interview he made approximately in 2014. He was saying a lot of like good things or rather, bad things about annexation of Crimea and things like that. Or was it even prior to this? Not sure. I think it was around this time. Okay, but he said a lot, like all the Russians, like 100% of Russian people, even people that support us and provide us with aid and stuff, they still have this very, very bad narrative regarding Ukrainians and Russians are one nation. The only reason why they say that is because Ukraine was occupied by Russia for several centuries. And occupied, I mean, like, they invaded, they removed our rulers, they said, now you should obey Russia. And we were part of Russian Empire forcefully. Doesn't make us the same people, is the first thing. Another thing is, why should we be this, like, I don't understand this pan-Slavic idea whatsoever. Why, as a Slavic person, as a Slav, I don't realize why should I consider other Slavs better friends than other people. Why should we unite with people who have my color of eyes, my color of skin, and why should we consider them better people than others? It's a bullshit. And by the way, Navalny is okay with the annexation of Crimea. He never said directly, from what I remember, he never said directly that Crimea must remain part of Ukraine. He said it in a more cunning way. He said, should we recognize Crimea as part of Ukraine? Yes, we should respect borders. Do I think that it was fair to give Crimea to Ukraine? No, I don't think so. So he's trying to sit on both chairs at the same time. But do I support him as a potential president of Russia? Absolutely. I think that he's a better option than freaking Kadyrov or, I don't know, Kinky Streets. That's what Anna of Ukraine says. Navalny is no good too. You should listen to what Anna says, actually, because she says a lot of wise things. Absolutely. Stomping Tom, Operator Starsky, do you have any music coming out? Yes, absolutely. I was literally writing some tunes today. Commentator JR, who helped Putin rise to president? People did. Actually, the way he conquered his electorate was he promised them that they will never return back to those 90s, because 90s in the post-Soviet space, it was a horrific time. Poverty, unemployment, and things like that. They were overwhelming. The salary of a Ukrainian officer, like my dad, and my dad was either a captain or the major. I think he was a captain or a major. It was $45 a month. Imagine that. But we survived through this shit. if Anna is single, I will not comment on that. Vlad Vexler also did a good bit on Navalny. Yes, and by the way, Vlad Vexler is another blogger I respect. Recently, I found Dr. Mike on YouTube. He has several million subscribers. He is he's a Russian immigrant to the U.S. and he works as a doctor in the U.S. and he supports Ukraine. He's absolutely amazing. There was a great commentary. Yeah, pan-Slavicism is like pan-Germanism. Bad news. Nida, I completely agree with you, because people should unite around ideas, not around color of skin or things like that, I believe. They should unite around ideas. I think it's great, and especially if it's like beautiful ideas, like democracy. Nellycat asks, what is your favorite kasha, which is porridge, made of? I think it's like buckwheat. I think it's buckwheat with meat, because buckwheat contains a lot of proteins, and if you attend gym and if you try to pump up a bit, you gotta eat buckwheat and rice. Rice doesn't contain proteins, but it contains a lot of slow carbs, complex carbs, that are great for providing you with enough energy. NAFO 69th Sniffing Brigade. By the way, Sniffing Brigade, they help us big time. So those guys from Estonia, they provide my brigade with cars. Not only my brigade, other units of the armed forces of Ukraine and National Guard as well. But they're doing a great job, and together we decided to do some mutual thing. And those patches that I made for supporters of Ukraine, they will be available through their resources. I will provide you with details soon as I know those details. But they will be available for everybody. Have you heard of buckwheat pancakes? Question from Rhonda. Actually, I heard about, I believe, buckwheat bread. I received this German MRE, and they have canned bread. I believe it's made of buckwheat. Joey, now I'm hungry again. I want to eat some red Ukrainian borscht. So, some of our viewers sent me a YouTube video of him tasting the Ukrainian borscht for the first time, and it was... I enjoyed watching this video, absolutely. Richard, do you listen to Frank Zappa or King Crimson? I did. Basically, it's already like classic rock music, but I prefer something more modern because I like this process of, learning new stuff. and experimenting with music. People say that rock is dead because nothing new was made whatsoever for like decades. But I don't think it's true. I think there's a lot of great bands, including metal bands, that create something new, especially bands like Space of Variations. It's a Ukrainian band currently touring around the US, and The Hard Kiss. You gotta check those bands. They're my favorite ones. Beer, wine, whiskey, scotch, or brandy? Such a hard choice. I think wine. Do they make buckwheat cake? 9 Cats, I have no idea. Never tried it. Rock and roll is thriving. Rock is not dead because it's immortal. It cannot die. Night Sun, best thing about Ukrainian food is pierogi. Yeah, we call them vareniki. They're called pierogi in Poland. I don't really know the difference. However, pierogi in Poland, I think they're bigger than vareniki in Ukraine. But basically they're the same. They have the same origin, and especially pierogi with cherries. It's something that will make you completely fall in love with Ukraine and Poland as well. Ginger, yes, ginger was mentioned. Ginger is awesome. Band Tool. This one, yeah, it is fantastic, and I like the way they experiment with music. They're very, they have a very original kind of sound. Dale Marinenko, every time I see borscht, it has shredded beets. My grandparents always just sliced them. Also, they always added beef neck bones, which is actually the normal way. I think it's a normal way. Shredded beets, it's a legit stuff. Actually, yeah, they gotta be shredded. They gotta look like spaghetti, those beets. They gotta be shredded, definitely. And beef neck bones, any meat will do. Like chicken, pork, beef, any will do. But the beets must, yeah, you gotta shred them to small shreds, because this is the way that they should be there. Nelly Cat says, you should try the Hungarian vareniki called derelia with sweet cottage cheese or plum jam. I gotta try. Next time I'm in Hungary, and I gotta go to Hungary sometime, I will try them. Oh yeah, Blazing Dragon, have you seen Anna from Ukraine's latest video? She posted pictures of the Easter eggs that you explained to us. Yeah, exactly. It's either pisanka or krashenka. Not sure which one. So, there are eggs popular during Christmas, and there are eggs popular during celebrating Easter. Some of them are pisanka, are called pisanka. Some of them are called krashenka, but I don't know exactly. I'm sorry. Michaels, you should open a cafe restaurant after Ukraine wins the war. So I prefer eating over cooking. Марк Снайдер. Незабаром я розпочинаю свій щоденний Duolingo українською. I didn't know that there is Duolingo in Ukrainian, actually. But it sounds great. Oh, since you like Ghost in the Shell, you should give Psychopaths a try if you ever get the time. Similar in many ways, including Blade Runner aesthetics. Ah, Psychopaths. Okay. Thank you so much. I gotta check it out. Ghost in the Shell is like, it's an anime. I'm not a big fan of anime, but it's like a movie. It's like an action movie. And it has those Blade Runner vibes. Cape Breton Barbarian. I would love to buy you a steak dinner and chat over a cold beer. I would love it. Thank you so much. Looking forward to meet you. Absolutely. And if you're here in Ukraine, the borscht is on me, of course. Once I figure out what wine pairs well with KFC, I will take you out on a date. We can try that. What wine pairs well with KFC? I never thought about it. It's a very difficult question at 2 a.m. Okay, friends, I think we can wrap it up and call it a day. Actually, it's 2 a.m. I still got. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to some very, very special place and I will make a small video blog for you guys. I hope you will like it because I decided to, use my love of aviation and things like that and give it a try. Anyways, I will not tell you all the information yet. Tomorrow I will make this blog. I hope that you will like it very, very much. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you for being with me tonight. It was a pleasure. As always, I think best part of our chat is always like everything related to the food. Because this is how it works. Okay, friends. See you later. Take care and be safe. Always. My name is Operator Starsky. Thanks for watching.